Only 7 people have ever reached the 30,000-point mark in history: Little Emperor LeBron James, Skyhook Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Mailman Karl Malone, Black Mamba Kobe Bryant, basketball god Michael Jordan, Mr. Chamberlain, and Dirk Nowitzki, the King of the North. Nowitzki, who comes from a sports family, showed extraordinary athletic talent from a young age. He played handball at 6, tennis at 8, and even won a youth tennis championship at 12. However, in the next 2 years, Nowitzki became a perennial runner-up. The person who defeated him was none other than the future German tennis star, Tommy Haas. Did they crush Nowitzki's tennis dream with repeated positional pressure? But when God closes a door, he opens a window. At 14, Nowitzki's height suddenly soared to 1.9 meters, which forced him to switch to playing basketball. Nowitzki, who had not received formal training, controlled the games of his age group with his extraordinary learning ability. At 16, Nowitzki's height surged to 2 meters, and it was this year that he met the person who changed his destiny. Coach Holger Geschwindner of the German men's basketball team spotted his talent at a glance. He immediately called Nowitzki's mother and said, "Give your son to me, I promise I can make him the best player in German basketball history." Under the scientific training of Coach Geschwindner, Nowitzki's basketball skills advanced by leaps and bounds, especially his shooting level on the offensive end, which was not inferior to any guard. With his excellent basketball skills, 19-year-old Nowitzki was invited to participate in the annual basketball summit, representing the world team against the powerful US. Everyone thought this white interior player was the easiest to bully. However, as soon as the game started, Nowitzki frequently broke into the interior to create fouls, and also showed his unparalleled outside skills to the fullest, leaving the audience dumbfounded. In the end, Nowitzki overturned the invincible US team with a terrifying data of 33 points and 13 rebounds. After the battle, countless basketball colleges threw olive branches at him. Don Nelson of the Dallas Mavericks also noticed this young man. He said that he saw unlimited potential in Nowitzki and was convinced that he would become a superstar in the future. The time came to the 1998 draft, and the Mavericks used the 6th pick to select Traylor and the Bucks' 1st pick to select Nowitzki for a trade. However, at that time, Nowitzki was not ready for the NBA, and he even planned to play for his hometown team again. 2 years later, the Mavericks couldn't wait any longer. They offered a high salary, eagerly hoping that Nowitzki would put on the Dallas jersey. Nowitzki, who had just entered the league, couldn't adapt to the pace of the game here. His defense was not good, his will was not strong, and he made mistakes repeatedly. The fans of the Mavericks were dumbfounded. Such a tall player is not strong in the interior, but instead shoots outside. But Nowitzki knew in his heart that if he wanted to shut these people up, he had to show off his amazing performance on the court. Every time he trained with the team, he was absorbing knowledge and experience. If the speed is not good, then keep running. If the strength is not good, then train hard. If the experience is not good, then actively learn from the predecessors. After an off-season, Nowitzki was reborn. In the first game, he averaged 17.5 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 2.05 assists, ranking second in the vote for the most improved player. But even so, he still couldn't change the fact that the team was at the bottom. It wasn't until Mark Cuban appeared that this team truly transformed. This man, who bet everything for interest, took over the Mavericks, who were in a low ebb, for $285 million. As soon as he took office, he injected financial resources into the team. Before and after tax, he was thinking about how to improve the team. Not only did he take care of the team in every way, but Nowitzki also swept away the gloom under his arrival and tore off the label of a rookie. In just 3 seasons, he evolved into a beast, averaging 21.8 points and 9.2 rebounds, becoming the first player in the history of the Dallas Mavericks to be named to the All-NBA team. With the departure of the team's core points and then, Nowitzki officially became the absolute core of this team. The Mavericks' record did not decline but rose, and they became a strong team in the league. 2006 was destined to be a memorable season for the driver. This year, the Mavericks had only one idea: to win the championship. Almost everyone said that Nowitzki was unstoppable. He recorded the Suns, who were in full swing in the Western Conference Finals, and made it to the finals for the first time in team history. The opponent in the finals was the Miami Heat, led by third-year Wade and late-career Shaq. Everyone thought that the school could celebrate in advance. Just as imagined, the Mavericks easily took the first 2 games with an almost overwhelming advantage. However, this year was destined to belong to Wade. After the game, Flash Wade rose strongly and defeated the entire Mavericks with his own power. The Miami Heat eventually reversed the situation by winning 4 games in a row. Nowitzki watched Wade become a god on the Mavericks' home court. At this moment, he felt unprecedented pain and needed to take revenge in the next year. Sure enough, Nowitzki did not disappoint. He led the team to make a comeback in the new season, achieving an impressive record of 67 wins and 15 losses, becoming the biggest favorite for the championship, and also won the regular season MVP of the season. Everyone thought the time was ripe, and the Mavericks were going to win the championship. However, in the first round of the playoffs, the Mavericks overturned again, and the Golden State Warriors staged a Black 8 miracle. Since then, Nowitzki has been labeled a soft egg, and has become the object of ridicule by fans all over the world. And this laughed for a full 4 years. 4 years later, 33-year-old Nowitzki will lead this aging Mavericks to embark on the road to godhood without hesitation. Before the start of the 2010 to 2011 season, no one was optimistic about the Mavericks. 38-year-old Kid, 33-year-old Terry, 33-year-old Marion, the gap between the old people in the team. Why can they lead the team to win the championship? However, as soon as the season started, the Mavericks blocked everyone's face. However, disaster struck at this point. The driver was injured, and Karen Butler was out for the season. The core of the Mavericks suddenly fell, and the team's chemistry was severely damaged, leading to a losing streak. After a 9-game hiatus, Nowitzki returned, and the Mavericks got back on their feet. At the end of the regular season, the Mavericks entered the playoffs with the third-best record in the Western Conference. Even so, doubts about the Mavericks did not dissipate. Everyone knows that the Mavericks are the team that other teams in the Western Conference want to face in the first round of the playoffs, even if they have to pay a price. The team that got this opportunity was the Trail Blazers. After 3 battles, they led 2-1 in the crucial first game. The entire Mavericks team was united, leading by 23 points in 3 quarters. However, in the fourth quarter, Drew suddenly woke up and crushed the Mavericks. After the victory, the Mavericks' morale suffered an unprecedented blow. Even the insiders thought that the Mavericks were going to repeat the same mistakes. The Mavericks team became united and did not give the Trail Blazers any more opportunities, winning 2 cities in a row. The opponent in the Western Conference semifinals was the ambitious Los Angeles Lakers. They need to achieve a three-peat this year. The outside world speculation also appeared one-sided. As expected, the Mavericks were beaten without the power to fight back at the start of the game, trailing by as many as 16 points. At the most desperate moment of the team, Nowitzki had a terrible outbreak, reversing the situation with his own power and winning the tough first game. Everyone thought this victory was a fluke. However, in the next second game, the Mavericks proved themselves again. The total score is 2-0 at this point, and people still don't look good. The Mavericks believe that Kobe will surely rise strongly and create a three-peat. However, people were wrong in the end. Nowitzki was unstoppable when he came up. Gasol was projected into the shadow. The Mavericks shooters were almost infallible. The total score was 4-0. The Dallas Mavericks swept the defending champion and ended the Zen Master era, also cutting off Kobe's City Road. Before entering the finals, the Mavericks still have one obstacle. In the Western Conference Finals, they will face the Oklahoma City Thunder, led by the Thunder's 3 youngsters. No one would have thought that facing a group of energetic talents, Nowitzki would be so hard. No matter how the Thunder team tried, no one could stop the driver's outbreak, and no one could stop these frustrated veterans. The total score is 4-1. The Mavericks took the Thunder with an unstoppable posture and entered the finals again after 5 years. At the same time, the East also gave birth to a new destructive Heat, Big Three. 5 years ago, the people of Dallas, leading 2-0, suffered a reversal and created Flash Wade. Nowitzki also changed from the hero of Dallas to the soft man pointed out by thousands of people. 5 years later, the 2 former opponents met again. The difference is that today's Heat is far stronger than it was 5 years ago. The Mavericks' chances of winning the championship are almost 0. As expected, the Mavericks were blown up in the first game of the finals. Facing the bombardment of the Heat's Big Three, the aging Mavericks were beaten without the power to fight back. What's even more desperate is that Nowitzki was injured, tearing the tendon of his finger, and the Mavericks were adding insult to injury. In the second game of the finals, the Heat's Big Three continued to exert their power, needing to win another city in one go. The Mavericks were suppressed for 3 quarters and trailed by 15 points. At the darkest moment of the team, Nowitzki finally woke up. He reversed the situation with his own power and turned the tide with an unsolvable mid-range shot. With Nowitzki's layup, the Mavericks won this tough game and tied the total score. On the third day, Dallas Flash Wade played the style of 5 years ago and started a crazy offensive mode. 29 points and 11 rebounds, although Nowitzki scored the highest 34 points of the game, but in the end, he still lost to the Heat by 2 points with a total score of 2-1. Coming to the fourth game, the Mavericks received bad news before the game. Nowitzki had a high fever of 39 degrees due to the flu, and he was exhausted. The balance of victory seems to have suddenly heated up. However, James underperformed in this game, only scoring 8 points with 11 shots and 3 assists. At the critical moment, the Mavericks withstood the pressure, and Nowitzki completed the layup and killed the basketball god, Jordan, and then created a flu myth to help the team survive. However, even so, James and Wade still didn't take the Mavericks seriously. The fifth battle started, and the entire Mavericks team seemed to be reborn, showing an unprecedented momentum and hitting back at their opponents with actual actions. Although the Big Three tried to counterattack several times, these frustrated veterans were just too ruthless. The total score is 3-2. The Mavericks are only one step away from the first in team history. The sixth battle of life and death started. started, and the Heat crazily increased the intensity of the confrontation, trying to drag the game into overtime. Nowitzki underperformed in the first half. But in the second half, his touch recovered and his strength at the critical moment awakened the entire team. Faced with the Mavericks' earth-shattering offense, the entire American Airlines arena was suffocated, and Heat fans dared not watch anymore. Nowitzki became a god in one battle. 5 years ago, he fell here. 5 years later, he succeeded in revenge, broke the world's prejudice against him, created the most gold-containing championship in history, and became the god of Dallas. Perhaps one day, this guy named Donich can inherit Nowitzki's mantle and help the people of Dallas reach the top again. With a record of 24 wins and 5 losses, including 11 away wins and 1 loss, the Mavericks had the best start in team history.